delving into maybe a little bit more of the potential byproducts of GenAI and how they relate to this data dimension that you were describing and the data engineering, and there's a lot for our clients to wrestle with in that particular area.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing we just covered is the trusted AI. So being able to rely on the data and the outcome like we just talked about. And then the other point that you made earlier about data governance, because the real benefit of GenAI is, like what we said earlier, is the enterprise-wide leveraging of GenAI and data. So bringing data together from multiple systems, multiple departments, and sometimes these come from systems that don't look the same. I mean, data governance, they call one thing in one system and something else in another system. So being able to harmonize the data, bring the data together is going to be key as well. And then we're going to see that as more and more employees are going to use AI, GenAI for decision making and assisting in their work, they will need to be upskilled because they need to be able to work with these systems. They need to know how to leverage them the best way, most effectively, and drive automation. And I think those are some of the key areas there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what would you view as the top 3 trends or the things that are going to distinguish winners from losers, right? Again, a tremendous amount of activity out there. I mean, part of our role as a advisor is sorting through some of that noise, but based on your vantage point, where you sit today and where you see this going, what are some of the characteristics associated with what we view the winners and the losers are going to look like here?
Yeah, that's a very hard question to answer because technology moves so fast. But I would maybe think about 3 different principles or guiding principles maybe. So one is that I would say everything that can be automated will be automated. I was just discussing that with a client earlier in the week, and she said, I like that. And said, I would actually call that everything that can be smart will be smart.
Right.
So that's, a different way of thinking. If you think about process automation, so rather than automating a process step or a certain part of a process, you think about leveraging technology to automate everything first, and then just bring in the subject matter experts in, wherever they're needed. The second part then is, what do you actually, as a company, want to own, and where you really want to drive competitive advantage? So just because you can leverage AI or generative AI and automation tools doesn't mean you need to build everything or do everything yourself. So if I'm very good at engineering products, that is something that I absolutely need to own. Maybe finance and maybe procurement or some other back office functions might be good for outsourcing or just, plain automation. And then because there's so much uncertainty and the technology moves so fast, picking a winner is very, very hard. So I think having a strong network of alliance technology partners, working with them and understanding, who provides what kind of benefit is going to be key as well. So working with us, for example, who know the market, who scan the market all the time, including the hyperscalers, but also the startups and everything, can provide great insights on what's possible in the market.
Absolutely. And then to talk a little bit about how some of our clients in this smart industrial arena that we play in leverage the data to drive growth. Right, there's a lot of efficiency at play, which makes a ton of sense, and I get a byproduct of efficiency can enable growth. But talk a little bit about areas that you're seeing of opportunity for GenAI to drive growth, particularly in areas like aftermarket service, as an example.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see a lot of industrial manufacturing companies looking what you just said, organic growth, for example, aftermarket services, those kind of things. And that's really, I think, a game changer for many of our clients, and also a challenge because they have traditionally been very good at engineering large industrial products, from cars to HVAC systems to batteries, all those kind of things. And they had really high quality engineered products. But now, as they're getting closer to the consumer, they need to really understand how's the product actually being used? IoT comes into play. What's the usage? Who is using it? What's the setup? What other competitor products might be there to really understand, how to potentially recommend replacement parts, repairs, upgrades, those kind of things. So they need to look much more like a consumer company almost, because they need to know much more about the consumer and the users of their products. The other thing is they also need to look a little bit like a tech company. So being able to provide mobile apps and maybe some user-friendly interface where they can interact, their ultimate customers can interact and see the usage and all those kind of things, which is what they have traditionally not offered.